Super Stakes 2024. Yes, we are here and ready for some Triple Crown racing action. We have the Florida Derby, the UAE Derby, and the Arkansas Derby going on Saturday. We also have a couple of filly prep races, including the Gulfstream Oaks, and we do have the Fantasy Stakes from Arkansas. We're also going to talk about the Dubai World Cup. And joining me today and tonight is going to be international racing correspondent Siggy Mendoza. And of course, Siggy, we had him on a few weeks ago to talk about some of the Kentucky Derby prep races. We went over some of the races before the Florida Derby. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the Florida Derby, the UAE Derby, the Arkansas Derby, the Dubai World Cup, the Fantasy Stakes, and the Gulfstream Park Oaks. Good evening, Siggy.
Good evening, Craig. All well
Looking
there?
forward to talking and kind of going over some of these races.
Yes, I'm ready to.
Now, what's nice about Dubai is they've got the big fields and they kind of have their Saturday cards getting you ready for this. But we do seem to have a strong contingent of Japan horses this year, and then some good Europeans. Overall, what do you think about this Dubai World Cup card?
Well, yes, in the recent years, Japan has been doing pretty well since Dermaso Togake, Ushba Tesoro, and they found the recipe, they found the secret to run well in the desert. So it's obvious, there are always main contenders in these races.
All right, well, let's get right into handicapping these races. Of course, Siggy Mendoza can be found on Twitter at Siggy Mendoza. He is going to be doing a Spaces tomorrow night going over all of the Dubai World Cup races. So if you want to listen to that and get some hints for Saturday morning in America, which is when Dubai is going to be running. But let's start off, Siggy. We're going to go right into it here. And starting off first, we have the UAE Derby. Now, already we do have a scratch. We have Killer Collect. He was scratched, but a full field. And we've got some American runners. We've got some European runners. And then talk about a little bit of the edge for some of the South American runners like Oasis Boy. He's a 4-year-old. How does he allowed to run in a race like this?
He was a great stakes winner in Argentina. Then he fly to Chip to Maidan. It was an okay race that day. Then he ran in Saudi Arabia. That was a disappointment. About seeing the horse is right well. He's doing well, but the horse about the South American, to me, the best horse is Autobahn. Autobahn broke his maiden in Argentina, and he beat that day a horse that then became in the 2-year-old champion. So there is some class there. Then he have 2 second places, and he was second to Killer Colette in the Albas Taquilla. The only thing with these horses is the allowance penalty. They're giving too much pounds, and that's the only issue to those horses. But I like Autobahn. I think he's going to run well, and probably using him underneath because he's a really good horse.
Now, they call him Baby Godzilla. Forever Young is probably going to be the favorite. They have talked about possibly coming over to Kentucky for the Kentucky Derby. He's 4 for 4, and he did win the Saudi Derby. What are some of the obstacles that Forever Young might have to face in this race?
Well, he will be taking all the money. He will be the heavy favorite. But my question mark is that he didn't change leads last time out, and he looked a bit green. I don't see he's not like that professional. Now he's not running in the 13th stall, but he's on the 11th. He's still outside, and probably he will avoid the kickback, but he will run wide, and that's not good. Remember California Crown some years ago that people said, no, he's barely running wide, and he lost a lot of ground.
Yeah, no, that was true. Yeah. Now, with One of your theories is sometimes some of these Japan horses, you were kind of telling me that the Japan speed is not as fast as some of the other speed in races like this.
Yeah, you know that Forever Young in the Japan races, you think he break pretty well, but against these horses, American horses or South American horses, he's not that fast out of the gate. That's my concern. If he doesn't break well, he will be in trouble.
Well, let's take a look at our selections for this race. Now, my top selection is going to be Mendelssohn Bay. I like the way that he won over the UAE surface. I like the fact that right away they said they were going to train towards the UAE Derby. Now, it's been 6-7 weeks, but I think Mendelssohn Bay I think he's going to sit a good trip. I think he can sit second or third, and I'm going to play him in exactas with Oasis Boy and Panda Gate. Siggy, where are you going in this race?
Yes, I'm going with Panda Gate. This horse is your junior bred. He was working in company with Deterministic, and then Deterministic won the Gotham Stakes. So he was working with a classy horse. And this is a son of Arrogate. Arrogate won at Maidan. And yeah, I think he would like this distance. He needs more distance. This mile in 3/16 would be pretty perfect for him.
Now, we did see Bookham Dano run second in the Saudi Derby. It's kind of an unusual path for the American horse to go over there because if they did do well, they'd have to ship back, and that's 2 major ships in a short time.
Yes, that's why Buchendano didn't try this race.
Okay. All right. Well, there you are. He's going with the New York bed Panda Gate. I'm going with Mendelssohn Bay. And then you do think Autobahn can maybe be at the bottom half of that exacta?
Yes, he's a pretty good horse. I think he's going to be near the lead and will take advantage of that, of his speed.
All right. That's a look at the UAE Derby on Saturday. Let's go to the Dubai World Cup. Big field. A lot of the same players from the Saudi race. We've got Derma Sotogake. We've got Senior Buscador. Everybody likes him. And you've also got a horse like Cruppy for Todd Pletcher. And then Clapton, Ushba Tesoro. What are some of your thoughts on this race regarding the pace? And then kind of analyze some of the contenders.
Yeah, in this race, I see the pace probably is Laurel River, but he is in the far outside. And I think he will be aggressive from that stall. And Military Law, another horse with some speed. You have Derma Sotogake will be near the lead. But my horse in this race really love Kabir Khan. You could say Kabir Khan, he has been running in Russia, Kazakhstan, but maiden races are another game, another world. I think this horse has been training pretty well in maiden, and he looked like a really superstar at the desert. So I think he's going to be favorably placed and will be really tough to beat in this race.
Now, Bob Baffert has done well. He's won this race before with Arrogate, who came from last to first. But I think Senior Buscador, he held off Ushba Tesoro the last race. He really took advantage of that long Saudi stretch. But I think Ushba Tesoro may get the first jump on him this time. I think last time Senior kind of got rolling on that outside, and Ushba kind of started after Senior Buscador had started his rally.
Yes. Senior Buscador, I think, is more a one-turn horse. I think all his races that he has won has been in one turn, exception the Springboard Mile. The Springboard Mile that was 3 years ago. I don't know. But yes, I think he's better in one-turn races, Senior Buscador.
All right. What about Derma Sotogake? Of course, he ran second in the Breeders' Cup, and he ran in the Kentucky Derby last year. Disappointed, had a little bit of a rough trip, but, he seems to have the grade 1 class level.
Yes, he won the UAE Derby in this course. And yeah, I think he's live. I think he's one of my main contenders for this race.
All right, let's go to the selections. Siggy, start off with your selection and then how you're going to play the exactas.
Yes, with Kabir Khan, I think the horse that really love this course, the horse of the course. And they're going to play him in the Saktas over the two Japanese horses, Derma Sotogake and Ushba Tesoro. I think he's going to close, but I think he's going to be a bit late. But I'm using him for exotics.
All right, I'm going to go with a little bit of in the rematch. I like Ushba Tusoro. He's just a consistent horse. He runs well in all of the big dances. I thought he ran well in the Breeders' Cup. I thought he ran well even in the Saudi race the last time. I think he's going to get first jump on Senior Buscador, and I'm going to play a straight exact over Derma Sotogake. I'm going to fade a horse like Newgate. I just think too long of a stretch. I don't think he's really a 1.25 mile horse. I think Defunded, I think he's probably a little bit better horse, but Defunded, I've always questioned him at 10 furlongs, 1.25 miles with a long stretch.
Yes, I have an angle, and there is that American horses to be live in the Dubai World Cup needs to be the elite horses, real grade one horses, just like Corlin, Invasor, Arrogate, California Chrome. Those type B type horses, I don't like him there in this spot.
Now, what do you think Kabir Khan is going to be for odds?
No, Kabir Khan, there are no odds in Maidan, but overseas, I think he's going to be 5-1, 6-1.
Okay, so that's a solid price if you can get him on top, maybe include him in some doubles. Of course, an exciting race, big purse. They really put on a show, good, great announcer, and I always enjoy watching the Dubai World Cup. Now let's move along to the Kentucky Derby preps stateside here in the United States. Of course, we've got the Arkansas Derby. We've got the Florida Derby for the boys. Of course, 100 points for the winner, 50 points for second, and basically a guarantee into the Kentucky Derby if you run 1-2. Let's start off in Florida. Florida Derby drew a field of 11 horses, Siggy, and we've got the winner of the Holy Bull. We've got the juvenile champion and fierceness, and then we've got a couple of horses out of the prep race a couple of races ago, won by Dornock, the Fountain of Youth. So overall, a strong field. And then we've got a recent winner, Conquest Warrior. Kind of talk about the pace of the race and kind of some of your thoughts as you handicap the Florida Derby.
Well, I really love fierceness in this spot. I think he wins for fun this race. John Velázquez will be, I think, aggressive for the 10th post position. He will avoid all the trouble. We try to avoid all the trouble. And yeah, as I see Fierceness winning this race easily. I think yes, gate to wire. I think he's going to try to win this gate to wire.
Oh, so you think he could try to go gate to wire in this? Now, what about that 10th post position? A lot of times they talk about that outside draw for Gulfstream.
Yes, it's not a good post position indeed. But for that post position, I think John Velázquez needs to be aggressive. He needs to try to, if not clear the field, but at least get into a very good position, at least second behind the leader.
So you're seeing a wire to wire. So you've got a horse like Seminole Chief who won over the synthetic. Ballast Out won over the synthetic. Do you think those two could maybe have a little bit of impact in this race? Maybe in the exotics at all?
No, I'm not considering them. I consider Conquest Warrior because to run well. Although he ran just an 84 buyer speed figure in his last race, I think there is a lot of room for improvement. I think he's going to improve that number.
And a horse like Hades, the one thing is about the Holy Bull, it was a slow pace. What do you see kind of evolving this time around?
Yeah, that's a tricky race. The Holy Bull was a very tricky race. That was a pedestrian race, the pace. But he has been training really well, working pretty good, and he's a solid horse. I think he's legit and he's going to run well.
All right. Silver Charm says he likes Derma, Hades, and Muth in the big three races. We'll be talking about the Arkansas Derby in a few minutes. But let's get to the Florida Derby selections. I'm going to start off with mine. I ended up going with Fierceness. I thought overall his effort in the Holy Bull was good. He was bumped at the start. Then he was kind of banged about maybe 20, 30 feet in. He was kind of bumped a second time. Now, a good horse really shouldn't be affected by that, but he did move up, and coming into the stretch, he did have the lead for a moment. So maybe he just got a little bit tired. I'm going to play him over Conquest Warrior and Ballas out for the exactas. And I think Fierceness maybe is going to come just off the pace. I think a horse like Seminole Chief could be on that lead for the first quarter of a mile to half a mile. Siggy, walk through your selection here.
Yeah, my selection is Fearless. I think he horse wins this race easily. And I'm using underneath Conquest Warrior is another horse. He will be, I think, second favorite. Yes, and second or third favorite. I think he's going to improve that number, and he will appreciate to run more distance. So if he qualified to the Kentucky Derby, he could be a main contender in the first Saturday of May.
Okay, so the juvenile champ is going to be back, and you're saying he's going to go wire to wire from Siggy Mendoza. Let's take a look now at the Gulfstream Park Oaks. This is a prep for the fillies, and a lot of people are talking about ways and means. She won her debut at Saratoga by 12 lengths, but she has not ran in 2024. What are some of your thoughts about the Gulfstream Park Oaks?
Yeah, ways and means will be the favorite of this race. There is the word on the street that she's working pretty well. But the question mark is that she's coming from an injury, coming from a long layoff, and the first time on a two turns race. That's a bit of a question mark. And for that price, now we try to beat her.
Now, Power Squeeze has won 3 in a row. She won at Gulfstream twice, then she went to Tampa, and she draws the inside post here.
Yes, she's 8-1, but I think she will appreciate this distance. And to me, she's one of the main contenders for this race.
Now, I see kind of the speed of the race early on could be the horse that went wire to wire last time out, Fiona's Magic. Then you've got Gunsong, who's also stretching out. She won at a mile. Now, your pick, let's talk a little bit about your selection in this race, the Gulfstream Park Oaks.
Yes, I'm going with it's scalable.
Yes, I typed that in wrong. Yes, it's scalable.
Yes, my selection is scalable. She has some back class. She ran well in the Bioscope Juvenile Phillies. She also has a good race in California, second to Chatalas. And well, I think she's doing better running two turns races. Last time out, she ran in the Forward Gall. That race, I think she was too sharp for her. And that was a decent race. She was fourth. But I think she will appreciate this distance, this configuration, two turn races.
And the price should be good, 6, 7 to 1, maybe even 8 to 1 if they really bet down ways and means.
Yeah, I see some speed in the race. Fiona's Magic, Guns On. I don't know, way and means could be a stalker. Yes, could be a stalker.
Yeah, I could see her sitting stalking, and she kind of just beat him easily in that maiden win because she was just so much faster than them. But off a little bit of a layoff, they probably don't want her too keen early. So you're going with Scalable. That's who Siggy is going with. I typed that in wrong. I'm going to select Ways and Means. Like you say, the word seems to be out on her workouts. Impressive debut effort. She kind of had a bone chip in that second Lifetime race. She was bet down in that race, so she was like 1 to 5 that day. So they love Ways and Means. I think if you want a little bit of a price, I like the fact that Power Squeeze has 2 wins over the Gulfstream surface. She won at Tampa. She's in good form, and I think she can easily get the mile of 16th. She's going to be about 7 or 8 to 1, and she does got 2 wins over the surface. So I think a horse like Power Squeeze is definitely usable in an exacta or a daily double.
Yeah, Power Squeeze is a filly that also would appreciate that distance. I think she would do better, really well in two turn races.
All right, so that's a look at the Gulfstream Park Oaks. Now we're going to turn our attention to the Arkansas Derby. And Siggy, they say 3 horses that have won the Arkansas Derby, won the Kentucky Derby: Sonny's Halo, Smarty Jones, and American Pharaoh. Of course, American Pharaoh, the Triple Crown winner, he won the Arkansas Derby. This is normally a good prep. Now, it used to be 3 weeks before the Derby. Now it's a little bit more time. Let's take a look at this field, starting off with Will Take It, who is listed as a little bit of a price in this race. You've got Timberlake, who won the Rebel. Steve Asmussen's got 3 horses in here: Dimatic, Informed Patriot, and Imperial Gun. Talk a little bit about the pace of the race, the Arkansas Derby.
Well, the pace projector says Time for Truth. It will be the long speed, but I think Mood, I think will be also. I think he could set the pace. Buffer also usually likes to win these races gate to wire. And you have Timberlake from the 2-post position from inside. I think it will be more aggressive than last time out.
Now, the horses that have won a stakes race carry 124 pounds. So Muth gets 124 pounds. Timberlake gets 124 pounds. Time for Truth gets in at 121. He's got some speed. And then Mystic Dan, talk about his last race. A lot of people were impressed by his effort in the slop in the Southwest.
Yeah, there are 2 points of view from this horse. The majority says that, oh no, this horse loved the slop, that he ran inside and there was a kind of rail bias that day. Probably that's truth, but the other point of view is that this horse just developed and he changed his tactics. He changed his running style. Now, in his early races, we see him running using his early speed. Last time out, he was stuck in the pace. Probably that worked. He's simply developing. I'm taking that he's developing and probably will receive a good price because a lot of people saying that he's just a slop lover.
It was a really nice ride the last time. He had an outside post. He was the 10 horse, and Brian Hernandez was able to, he broke well, and then he kind of went to the inside and really took advantage of that rail.
Yeah, it was a really nice ride indeed.
Now, he does have a win at Churchill Downs. He won by 8 lengths, but that was a 5.5 furlong race. And like you said, his first couple of races, his first lifetime race, he led all the way until the end, going 6.5 furlongs. So you're thinking if it wasn't the slop, you're thinking it's his new running style is why he could be better.
Yes, that's my analysis in this race, and that's a way to take at least a good price.
Now, what about Muth? It seems like if Bob Baffert ships in, if he gets to the lead, his horses seem to run really well.
Yes, but I don't think Mood is his A horse. I think this season the best horse for the Baffert barn is Nisos, and he's injured. And the other horses, I don't trust any of them. Mood is okay, but I think he could have some distance limitations.
Now, he has been working 6 furlongs. He's got 2 or 3 6-furlong workouts. So, you know, he drew a good post. He's number 7. JJ Hernandez ships in. Who do you think will be favored, Muth or Timberlake? Because Timberlake already has a win at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, finally, I think Timberlake will be the favorite.
I kind of think so too, especially with Brad Cox winning 4 races last week.
Yes, he's really hot in a hot streak.
Yeah, he had Nash, and then he had Tarifa with the 3-year-olds, and then he won with Catching Freedom. So that is a look at the Arkansas Derby. And then we've also got a filly prep in Arkansas. It's the Fantasy Stakes, Siggy. And you had to do a little bit of work on this one. First off, let's talk about our selections for the Arkansas Derby. We'll let you go first with your selection, and then we'll go with mine.
Yeah, my selection is Liberal Arts. He was 3rd in the Southwest, but I think he was really short for this race. His main goal is the Arkansas Derby. And after that race, he has been working steadily for this race. I think the pace would be a bit fast, and he would take advantage of that.
Now you're still going to use Mystic Dan in the bottom half of your exacta.
Yes, I think Liberal Arts is 15-1, and I think he's really live. In the Southwest, his all about was pretty good also.
Okay. Now I ended up going with Timberlake. I think he is going to show more speed than Muth. I thought his first race out was a nice comeback race. I think he can improve off that effort. Muth could be dangerous if he got loose on the lead. So I'm hoping Time for Truth goes with him. And if he can soften him up a little bit on that front end, and maybe even one of the Asmussen horses. Informed Patriot used to have speed. I think Steve's going to maybe try to set it up for Dimatic or one of his other closers in the race. So I see a lot of speed in this race. I'm going to use Muth and Liberal Arts underneath, but I see a lot of speed, and we could have, especially if Time for Truth gets out there, he could soften up Muth a little bit and allow maybe Liberal Arts, Timberlake, or even one of the Asmussen horses. I do think Imperial Gun's a well-bred horse. Dimatic's a well-bred horse. And the coach, Just Steel, he seems to have him fit for this race. What about Just Steel? He kind of dances all the dances.
Oh yes, I think he's kind of a race horse. I think he's coming from this race a bit tired.
All right, and he made a nice move. It looked like he was going to win that Southwest before. If Mystic Dan wouldn't have gotten that rail open up, I think Just Steel would have been the winner of the Southwest.
Yeah, he made a really good move. In entering the stretch, I thought he was a winner.
Now, Silver Charm has one question for you, Siggy. He thinks Liberal Arts has taken advantage of the slop in those last two races. He galloped out nice. He won in the slop. Are you worried at all that maybe he just likes a sloppy track as well, being by Arrogate?
No, I think he was just a bit short for the Southwest. I remember he was going with just 4 workouts for that race, and he was really short. I think we will see a really better version of Liberal Arts in this race, and we take advantage of that hot pace is expected.
All right, good question. If you have a question, make sure to get it in here. We continue on with our analysis, the fantasy stakes, a big field in this one, pack a lunch as we kind of go through it. We've got a New York shipper, My Main Squeeze. You've got All Things Go, who seems to be running well. Recharge is undefeated for Steve Asmussen. West Omaha won at the fairgrounds. And then you've got Lemon Muffin for the coach. And then on the outside, we've got Torpedo Anna. Some of your early thoughts about the fantasy stakes as you handicap this one, Siggy.
Yes, I really love Torpedo Anna in this race, despite the post position that is really a bad post position. But I think this field is not really tough. I think the Ashland is tougher than this race. And this filly showed a lot of ability at 2. In the Golden Road, she failed because she broke slow, and also she was running with just a very short spacing, just a 15 days short spacing. She came back too quick for the Golden Road. So she had a slight injury, nothing biggie. It was just a bruise in her hip, nothing biggie, but took some time to take back to the track. But now she has been working since early February. She has 7 workouts, so she's fit for this race. I think with a good break, she will sort some troubles in the first turn, and I think she likely wins this race.
Those first two races were really good. Like, she really blew them away. And Ken McPeak does well with fillies. Of course, Swiss Skydiver and lots of other good fillies over the years.
Yes, she's better with fillies indeed.
Now, West Omaha had a matchup with Lemon Muffin the last time. Lemon Muffin broke her maiden in a stakes race. What do you feel about her chances? She comes off the pace. I don't think the 11th post position is really going to affect her that much.
No, I think Lemon Muffin is a legit filly. She was running sprint races. Now, when she stretched out, then she won by 3 lengths that race, the Honeybee. I think she's a legit filly, and she will run pretty well again in this race. I have
What
that filly underneath, but he's going to run pretty well.
What about my main squeeze? A lot of people that like the speed figures are saying those are some big speed figures from her.
Yeah, cheat players say she's really a strong contender. My only question mark is that this is she's facing Open Company for first time. But yeah, this time you see New York Breds beating Kentucky Bred Open Company you often. That was something 20 years ago when you say, "Oh, this is a New York Bred. She has no shot." But time changed.
Yeah, some of these New York breds, they've got
Yes.
good, strong mares, and of course, face a Tipton, New York sale every year at Saratoga. So let's take a look at our selections here for now. The big questions: Torpedo Anna, post position, long layoff. You're not worried at all. Lemon Muffin, you're saying is legit, big effort the last time. My main squeeze, fast speed figures, and your selection here in the fantasy stakes, and your exacta selection. Oh, I didn't get that one up. So your top selection in the fantasy stakes, Siggy?
Is Torpedo Anna. I don't care
Torpedo.
the post position. She breaks well and she wins this race.
All right. Now I'm going to be going with a little bit of a long shot. I'm going with West Omaha. I think she can go back to her race in the Silver Bullet Day. I'm not sure what happened the last time out, but I think she's going to be long odds this time. And I think she can maybe reverse it on the Muffin Horse. Let's take a look now for the 6 races. My best bet of the day is going to be Ways and Means in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. My best long shot is going to be Liberal Arts in the Arkansas Derby. Siggy, your best bet of the day and your best long shot.
Yeah, my best bet is Torpedo Anna. I think has been tweeting since 2 months that this filly is really a monster. And I think she wins this race, and then she's a really strong contender in the Kentucky Oaks. And my long shot, I'm going with Liberal Arts at 15-1. There's a huge odds for this horse that I think he's going to move forward from the southwest. He was running the southwest with just 4 workouts. He's so short for that race, and now he's working every week. I think he's going to take advantage of the hot pace that I expect.
So Dubai starts on Saturday morning. Talk about what you're going to be doing on Friday night on Twitter. Sounds like you're going to be hosting a spaces and going over all of the Dubai races.
Yes, I'm going to cover the Super Saturday, something like we were doing today, but in Spanish.
Oh, in Spanish. Okay.
Yes,
So then you can
yes,
give out some long priced winners in Spanish, huh?
yes, for the Spanish audience.
Now you're going to be going over some of the other Dubai races as well, or just the big ones?
No, just the big one, UAE Derby and Dubai World Cup. Yes,
Okay.
just to be not too long program, not too long show.
All right. What time does that start on Friday night on Spaces?
Yes, it has 7 Eastern.
7 Eastern on Friday.
Yes.
Go to X, look up at Siggy Mendoza. Well, Siggy, last week we saw Catching Freedom win. We saw Endlessly win. He's not going to go to the Derby. A lot of these horses have been running slower speed figures. It's kind of time for some of these horses to step up. You think Fierceness can go wire to wire. You've got a long shot in Liberal Arts. Do you think we're going to see some really good Derby horses this weekend?
Yeah, I like these races. These preps looks really strong, and yes, I expect to see a really better version of Fierceness in this weekend.
All right, Florida Derby, his top pick is Fierceness. He thinks he's going to go wire to wire. His long shot of the day is Liberal Arts. Of course, he is leaning towards Torpedo Anna as his best bet of the day. So lots of racing action. I like the filly in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. Ways and Means is my best bet, and my long shot is Liberal Arts. But my top selection in the Arkansas Derby is going to be Timberlake. I think he's just a little bit better than Muth. We will find out. I do think it's going to be a fast pace in that Arkansas Derby. That's a look at some of the Super Saturday Stakes races. Me and Siggy will probably go on maybe one more time before the Derby, maybe Derby week, go over some of those races in the Kentucky Derby. But good luck on the weekend, and we'll recap it all right here on the channel. Saturday night, some of the prep recaps, and then next week we'll start lining up. We got the Bluegrass, we've got the Santa Anita Derby, and we've also got the Wood Memorial out of New York. We might have a field of 13 horses for the Wood Memorial, Siggy Mendoza. So you're going to have to get on your handicapping hat next week. That's a look at the Super Saturday right here. Siggy, thanks for joining the show.
Oh, anytime, Craig.
All right.
Good luck,
Siggy
everyone.
Mendoza talking here live on the show.